here for the 15th regular meeting of the Lynn School Committee, which is being held on October 14th, but before we get into the full meeting, it's scheduled for 7 o'clock. There's a committee of the whole meeting that was scheduled to begin at 6:30, which we will begin, but to start that off, we'll start with a roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Present.
Member Capola?
Present.
Member Ford?
Present.
Member Gazy?
Present.
Member Nicholson?
Present.
Member Satterwhite?
Present.
Mayor McGee?
Present. Dr. Tutwiler, would you like to?
Clearly noted on the meeting agenda for the Committee of the Whole, it just has one name, one very important name. John Ford is stepping down from his role as a school committee member after 20 years of service at the end of this term, and really wanted to take this moment to celebrate him, to elevate him, and just sit in the moment in his grace. And so to start that off, we have some very talented musicians who have a purposefully selected set of music that they would like to play. I would ask first if you could introduce yourselves, and then I'll let you play. From what school, Miriam?
English.
In English.
I'm Nina Lee, and I'm from English.
I'm Ricky Sang, and I'm from Linwood.
I'm Akira Hamley, I'm their teacher, and the reason they are all from Lynn English is just it's easier to rehearse in one place.
I understand. I wasn't going to say anything. It's okay.
My name is Ricky as well. I'm from Linwood.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Mrs. Carroll. First official concert of the school year.
And it was a great one.
Great choice of songs.
Well, that was a great start, and as Dr. Tutwiler said, the two words on the agenda are John Ford, and I know there's some couple of other electeds here that want to recognize the work you've done, John, and the years you've put in, and I've had a chance to work with you over the years in many different roles. And there may be something that you might have had a chance to have a hand in over the years that Pete Capano Representative Capano might be available with you. But I just want to say thank you for all you've done, for your commitment to the city, for your commitment to the schools, and to your passion. Having the last 4 years from this seat, watching your passion for students and families in the schools is unmatched and unparalleled. And putting 20 years in is a real commitment to making a difference in this community and to the students and to the teachers, the administration, and all those that are involved, the families. That's what you've been all about, and I know how much you care about this. So you'll be missed here, but your legacy will continue in terms of your commitment. So I know your family is here. We've been friends a long time. I know a lot of your family, but there's a couple of presentations we'd like to make, and I know I don't want to speak for our colleagues on the committee, but I know that how high of regard they hold you and the work that you've done. So congratulations, and I think at this point I'm happy to present you with a citation, and I also have a card from the members of the committee and the administrative staff here that I'd like to present to you as well, and maybe we can kind of do that out in the middle here so that everyone can kind of take a chance to see that and hopefully recognize you as well. And then I'm going to ask Senator Creighton and Representative Capano to come forward after that. But I'm going to present this to you, John, and happy to present this to you. Come on up. Again, this is from the mayor's office, and I wanted to sign, but it really is from all of us. Come on, absolutely. Come on.
Thanks, John.
Amazing team, and happy to present this to you. John Ford's recognition of his 20 years of outstanding service to students, teachers, faculty, and members of the Lynn Public Schools. Just want you to know that the entire city of Lynn extends its best wishes, continued success, for great joy and happiness. So bring forward Dr. Tutwiler, please. And I wanted to sign this dated October 14, 2021, John. You're the best. Thank you. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
And I would ask, why don't you come on up as well? Come on, we'll all work together.
Come on this side, great.
And one more. Mary? Jeff, you can join us. Jeff, come on.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you.
Back, anybody.
thank you first to the mayor, to the school committee, the superintendent, everyone for having us here to be a part of this. Full disclosure, some of you may know, I may be a bit biased. John is a second cousin of mine. And, we worked for many years together at the skater, so I don't know how impressed you're going to be by the citation. But
I didn't do it.
no, but in all seriousness, it is an honor to be here. And, you know, it's natural, I think, in politics and in government for us to have our differences and, you know, different ideologies, different, you know, priorities, beliefs, agendas, and I think at the core, we all hope that every public servant, every politician, their core focus is always going to be about helping people. And with John, from day one, it's always been about helping people, no matter who you are, where you're from. He's always been there for the people of Lynn, and even outside of that during his time at the State House. So I know you're leaving the school committee, but before you were on the school committee, you were helping people. During it, you were helping people. And I know you're not leaving the arena. You'll be here in some way. You'll continue to help people, and it's really an inspiration to us all. And some guidelines I think we should all follow as politicians. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
I'm sure you don't want me to read this. Well deserved. I don't want to read the citation, but I just want to say a few things about John. And not only is John is an exemplary public servant, he's a close friend of mine. I consider him a friend. And I just want to mention a few things. I'm going to go back a few years, Don. I don't know where all the time went, but just people don't know. John doesn't talk about everything he does. I remember when there was a gang problem in the city, a real bad one, you know. Kids, teenagers, shooting teenagers. And somehow we put together a basketball league that you led, and people don't even know that we, and I can say it now because it was like 10, 12 years ago, maybe longer. We ran a basketball program in the schools with kids with ankle bracelets. There was never any trouble at all. And John spearheaded that effort and got donations from all the different foundations in the city. And that work, we had that going for when I contributed, and even came down and did the barbecue. But we had that for 5 or 6 years, and we never had any trouble with that. Well, also, I don't know if people know, John is a founding member of Stop the Violence Lynn, which is pretty popular in the city right now. Kids are shooting kids. I mean, you know, really, what do you do about it? Everybody wants to do something about it. You don't always know what to do. But we got together, and you led that effort. And look at the side of that now. There's been all kinds of role models that you brought into the schools so kids can look up to. All kinds of events we've had to do that. The Lynn Community Enrichment Program. If people don't know, there's a night school at Lynn Tech, you know, to try to teach kids a trade. Lynn is the type of city where people can benefit from a trade. There's employers looking for skills. We have a city that needs living wage jobs. John recognized that, and he was behind doing all that. People don't know that because John doesn't talk about that. And I could name so many other different things that he's done over the years. I'm proud to.
Well, you brought it up.
I bet you people don't even know that, you know? But I know that. And I appreciate all the work you've done. And I don't consider you someone that's going to retire. So I'm sure I will see you around. Yeah. Take this.
John, if you'd like to say a few words, we'd be happy to.
Guess I better. I'd like to thank my family for coming tonight. My sister Joanne Egan, Pauline Egan, Jennifer Ford, my youngest, Kathleen Ford, my oldest, both Lynn teachers. My grandson Jason Donahue, his dad Matt Donahue. My youngest grandchild Olivia Ford Hyde. And Chelsea Ford, Father Jim Hyde, my wife, and forever partner, Sheila, and my grandson Kavari. I'm very happy they all showed up tonight. I gave a lot of thought to this. I mean, 20 years was probably a good round number to quit at, but I really gave it a lot of thought. And Sheila was very happy to hear that I was retiring, and then 2 weeks later, she came in the living room and said, "Are you going to be a grump?" I said, "Probably. I am now, so why would I change?" But I said earlier tonight, my badge, if anybody can see it, is pretty much faded away. Yeah. There's no picture left. And when I was thinking about making my decision, I took this as a sign from God. It was time to go. If the badge is gone, there's got to be other things got to be following behind it. So I decided it was time. I know I'm going to miss it. I took it very seriously. I enjoy serving with the people I have served with. This is a great committee right here. And I've served with some really great people over the years. The one person that's not here tonight that I miss the most, and we all miss him, is John Myhouse. I became very good friends with him. I knew him before being elected, and I got to know him even better. And there was no one that could turn a conversation. "Hi, John, you got a minute?" And then 45 minutes later, one of us is saying, "I gotta go, I gotta go." He was a great guy, and I'm really gonna miss him. But I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. This is really nice. It's a great send-off. I really appreciate it. Anybody, I'm not going fast, so if you get any issues or questions, anything I can help you with, yell or it'll be calling. I'm making one request tonight. Can I be invited to Donna's 30th in 2029?
Thank you very much, John, and I think, enough words have been said, congratulations, but I know that the Lynn Journal's here, and I think wants to get a couple of pictures, so maybe with the delegation, and then with the committee.
What about his family?
And the family.
Come on.
Like, why doesn't he sit in the middle of the family?
John, you can stand right with your family.
Yep.
Stand right with your family.
If he sit next to Sheila, I'd like to see it.
Where to? Why don't you, look.
I know her from somewhere. Sacred Heart. What did he say?
Mass family. Thank you.
Do you want them to?
Oh, yeah, my friend then? Yep. Peter? Everybody come on. Everybody come on up. Get in the room.
Ball for us. Pause it right now. Oh, she's got a badge. She must be. Oh, thank you.
I'll never.
No, I didn't at first. He didn't know you didn't have to do it. What was the switch? So I didn't know that. Hey, listen, I came a long way from my dad's.
I am smiling.
I'm trying to explain it to you. First grade to 8th grade. I don't have any siblings.
You can see your smile.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that good?
I didn't know that it was.
65 years of friendship. You don't even 65 yet.
Thank you.
Bye, Ford family.
Nice meeting all the Fords. Family.
You don't want to fall asleep.
Hey, this might be my shot if you wait for a
I'm like, wait.
That's a good idea. Yes, good.
For a second, I was like, can you put Santana pens on the desk? For a second, I was like, you can't do that. I was like, you know what's funny? Let's give him up.
Hi, Sheila. You ready to
Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Good, good. I saw you the other day over at Washington. I was driving by. Oh, no.
I know now that he's leaving.
It happens. It happens. Right.
I see you come back the other way.
Oh, no. You know what? What was I doing? I don't know what I was doing. But
Oh, you're welcome.
yeah.
Doing fast.
Oh, good. I wouldn't. Well, it was almost dismissal anyway.
Shouldn't be talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
me, you know. I had the original, but I lost it.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Instead of doing flag, it was
All right, take care.
Nice to see you. Good to see you. We're going to be starting the open mic session. It's a 15-minute open mic session. And if you're interested in, and I see you're signing up, if people are looking to be part of the open mic, could you please sign up, and we can get moving on that as well. So, the committee's ready to move forward.
Are you going to sign?
Again, the open mic session is designed to provide an opportunity for citizens to express their views on matters of concern to the school committee. The sessions are not designed to encourage debate or lengthy exchange of views, but are to have the committee understand numerous points of view. The committee would appreciate speakers keeping their presentation to 3 minutes in order to accommodate as many people as time permits. Again, the 15-minute schedule for the open mic tonight. The chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on the same topic to 3. All speakers must be at least 18 years of age or enrolled in high school in Lynn Public School District and having discussed their views with a student government representative. The chair reserves the right to rule a speaker out of order if the chair feels that the speaker's comments are personal in nature. If a speaker's comments are directed at a school committee member or a member of school administration in attendance, that member, through the chair, may address that individual. The session will promptly commence 15 minutes prior to the start of the regular school committee meeting, so we're at 7:01. And I see that we have some sign-ups, so I see you were the first to sign up. Yes? Yes, thank you. And then adjourn, and then we'll
Motion
come
to
back in
adjourn.
for the full committee.
Second.
The motion to adjourn, and a second. Roll call, please.
Second.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Davis?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Thank you, Deb.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am a parent of 3 Lynn Public School students. My name is Ursula Giroux. I am here to speak about the Lynn School Public Lunch debate. Our kids are in unprecedented times, in a time where elementary students cannot be vaccinated. Their immune systems are being compromised by spoiled, rotten, moldy, out-of-date meats and prepackaged foods provided by the vendor Revolution Foods, whose parent company is Chartwell. My son alone has been violently ill 2 times since school started. Revolution Food Company has multiple settled suits across the United States. It's public knowledge. Anyone can Google it. They were recently featured in the Washington Post. In instances where parents and schools were promised preventative measures or quality control from Revolution, every time it ended in the contract being canceled or terminated. If the school committee agrees to terminate, we have 60 days from the date of notice given. Meals are being thrown away. Our parents and concerned citizens do have solutions in mind. Firstly, a change of vendor. We were told at one point there is no alternative vendor. There are vendors. Aramark and Sodexo are 2, for example. I think for an immediate 2 to 5 year plan solution, aside from a change of vendor, we could build 4 to 5 local kitchens to source local schools. These local kitchens could also utilize students on site to do their work requirement hours from local tech schools such as Lynn Tech, Essex Aggie, and Northeast Vocational, gaining experience turning out large-scale culinary services. It would save on transportation costs. It would provide local job opportunities. It would provide a space for small businesses or catering businesses, etc. Opportunity is there. I think in the long term, as some mayoral candidates have spoken on about building new schools with new kitchens, as we all know, that may not happen within 5 to 10 years. My kids may be in college by the time that happens. In the event the contract is canceled, many local kitchens have voiced that they are willing to step up. There's farmers markets. There's things we could do in the interim if the contract was to be canceled, because the food will be thrown away. It's already being thrown away in large volumes, and Lynn is paying for that food. and I really think you guys should consider an alternate vendor. We have photos, we have exhibits. I have a Bible manila folder in my office of lawsuits against Revolution Food Company and Chartwell. And it's also the same company subsequently that feeds our local prisons. So there's been a lot of concerned moms. My children aren't the only ones that have become ill from the foods. I just don't think that if a solution or a quality assurance team is brought in, or a guy from Revolution comes in with a poster board and, you know, a shiny, glossy example of what they have on their website of what their meals look like, which I've seen, very impressive. It's not what our children are getting. They're going to offer all types of solutions that they won't implement. It won't work. We'll be wasting our time when in that time we could have canceled the contract and found another vendor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have someone else signed up for the open mic? You could, again, introduce yourself, state your name, and
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Vega. I'm a lifelong Lynner. I'm a product of Lynn School Systems. I have 4 kids, 2 have passed through the system and 2 that are currently in it, both in the charter and both at the public. I'm also vested in the community in many other ways and engaged. I come to represent the Latino Hispanic side and, of course, our low-income population, which is huge in our city. And one point that I really wanted to bring out is we know that some of our kids, this is the only meal that they're getting. This may be the only meal that they're getting. So to not acknowledge or to not have a focus on making sure that our kids are provided healthy, not expired, or not even to be expired meals is super important. We also know that hungry kids don't study. They can't focus. They can't sit still. So if this is maybe the only option for them, we have to make sure it's a healthy option for them. I echo a lot of what the mom just said before me. You know, it might be a quality insurance thing. Is it leaving the building or facility appropriately? Are we receiving it and checking it? Are we able to? And if not, put systems in place that assure that the food that's coming in the door is adequate. I also want to make sure and bring to light that if they're telling us their kids are going to have a hot meal, and I completely understand that some of our schools do not have a kitchen, is it appropriate for our children to receive a hot meal when it's ice cold? Maybe not. I can also vouch for, I have one child at home who's a senior in English, and he is actually home 2 days on a stomach issue. Says it's lunch. I'm not 100%, but I know many days he won't eat at the school, and he doesn't have an option to bring a lunch. So this is what I would like to bring to the table, is just to consider that where our kids, this may be their only option. Let's make it a good option for them. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else signed up for open mic?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. My name is Sonia, and I am a parent of 2 girls and 5 nieces and nephews. 2 weeks ago, my niece came home sick, and she is health compromised, and she has some gastro issues, and I usually manage her food and her intake. So I believe that it is the food that is causing the issue that she has. But anyways, I'm here to voice my opinion, be an advocate for our kids, be an advocate for kids that has autism, which they can't see. Some of them can't see, some of them can't speak. So when they eat the food, they don't know what they're eating. So it's important that we have good quality food. As far as the vendor, we're not here to say, fire the vendor. We need the committee to look into it deeper. Why are our kids getting all this spoiled food? Food is very vital for our early childhood development, especially the first few years, because that's when they're growing. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bit shaky, a little bit nervous because I'm a little bit emotional because it hits home. It really does, and I'm sure everybody has their own, kids that they love, and God forbid, we let this prolong. It just takes time where eventually there will be a lawsuit against Lynn, against the vendor, and I don't want that to happen. Lynn is so full of life. We want to keep the business in Lynn. There are so many restaurants being open. We have many culture, and we can cater to our own community, so why not? And it keeps money in Lynn. That's what I just want to say is, I don't have anything written. This is in from my heart that this is for the future of our kids and also the community. We're supposed to be a community, and I want this to be, noticed. It should get recognition as much as, teachers, teachers are as important. We should get recognition as far as crossing, safety. That's a big issue also. So there's a lot of issues in Lynn that needs to be noticed. One is not important than the other, but most importantly, the health of our kids is important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who's signed up for open mic?
I'm the last on the list. I'm Pastor Paul Saneng. I'm actually a school committee candidate. And I want to thank you for all your hard work previous year, especially through the pandemic. And I'm here just to be proud of Sophia. Back about mid-September when she first had this incident, by chance she gave me a call about something different. But I spoke to her about this and I told her I was very proud of her to be concerned about this issue. Right? In our city, in any community, the children are the future. The children are our highest commodity. And we have our biggest expense on their education. Well, I believe the education include their nutrition. Quality education and quality nutrition go hand in hand. The previous speaker referenced all of that. And so what I like to say is two things. One is I'm so proud of Sophia to not be put down when she approached the faculty and they turned her away. And then the second point is to say that please pick this up as a very important issue. I know that we need to look at costs. I know sometimes we see corporate processing procedure to cut costs. But that is too costly for our children, for our society, for our future. I think if we can be innovative, we can mobilize our community to be unified, to care. Out of generosity, maybe some great chef can step up and cook a really, not just healthy and safe meal, but delicious. Yes, I think schools should be interesting in lessons, should be fun in activity, and it should be nutritious so that they can grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else is here for the open mic tonight, we will move on to the next bit of agenda, and we'll move into the 15th regular meeting of the school committee, which again is scheduled for today. And I'd ask everyone to join me in a salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is the minutes. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of the Committee of a Whole meeting on September 30th, 2021.
Second.
Second, requires a roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the 14th regular meeting with executive session on September 30th, 2021.
Second.
There's a second, requires a roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Next on the agenda is presentations. Dr. Tutwiler, would you like to lead us into that?
I would indeed. So coming in the door right now, before you sit there, here's a clicker. Is Director of Nursing, Debbie Tanzer, along with Assistant Director Jackie Westron, who I've explained to them their ears must have been ringing on previous school committee nights because I've sung their praises for the incredible job that they've done, really launching us into the school year. But in the first couple of meetings of the school year, I talked high level, with some level of specificity around our protocols, safety, and health protocols. But now that we're just beyond the fourth full week of school, thought it would be appropriate to have the director and assistant director come and talk a little bit deeper about our protocols and also share some data and some next steps in that realm.
Okay.
Turn it over.
Well, thank you for having us, first of all. Into it. I'm going to start by going into the protocols, and Jackie is going to review the COVID testing program and where we are at with that right now. I know there's a lot of questions about that. And we also have some stats to go over. So first of all, we all know we have a mask mandate. DESE has extended this mask mandate for all public schools until November 1st. Everyone coming into a building needs to wear a mask while they are indoors or on a bus. The mask needs to cover the nose and the mouth. We are not allowing gaiters or bandanas, masks with the valves, or face shields alone. For those who do have a medical or behavioral reason, they are exempt if they provide a medical note to the school nurse. Times that the mask can be removed is when students and staff are outdoors, unless they're participating in test and stay, and Jackie's going to go over the test and stay program, during mask breaks, obviously while eating or drinking, and if they are in elective classes, such as while using a wind instrument, they can remove their mask. As far as social distancing, there are no requirements, even during meals. If feasible, desks will be 3 feet apart. Students will have assigned seating and remain in cohorts if that's possible. We've asked that teachers maintain seating charts, so those are available for the school nurse for contact tracing purposes. Some of the secondary schools are also using like QR codes on the half tables or outside the doors. We also have contact logs outside the doors so we know who's going in and out. Some other safety measures. Before school started, every classroom was given hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. Those are available at any time on request. We also have hand sanitizer located in common areas. We have plenty of PPE. If anyone needs that, they can request that through the school nurse. I also checked with ISD. They are spraying classrooms daily, and they'll also do that as requested. We are asking all visitors to complete a COVID-19 screening questionnaire before entering any building. And we're also trying to increase our vaccination rates by collaborating with other agencies and offering clinics. So far, in collaboration with Lynn Community Health Center, there's been 3 high school vaccination clinics, 1 at Lynn English, 1 at Tech, and there was 1 today at Classical. The Lynn Board of Health is also running flu clinics. There's 1 at Marshall tonight, and there's 1 at Breed on the 18th from 4 to 7. And they are working with Mass General Brigham so that COVID vaccines will also be available. As far as communication, the beginning of school, principals sent out a parent packet This included all the COVID protocols, an at-home checklist with all the symptoms to watch for, reasons to stay home, and all the response protocols. They were also given the testing consent at the same time. Before school started, school nurses did a staff training on the third PD day around all the protocols as well. We've been posting information on the Lynn Public Schools website, on the Health Services page. I've been using the Facebook page a lot. I also reached out to IVATH in the Welcome Center this week, and she's going to include all this information with her welcome packet, so new students who are registering will get that information. We did work with the data center to change the absent message so it reinforces reasons students should stay home and when to get tested. We developed an online shared folder for principals and nurses. It's the one-stop shop, that's what we call it, and everything they need from like template letters, parent flyers, you know, doors for the sign, you know, masks, anything they need is in there. We also worked with the webmaster to develop a COVID dashboard. So this, every week on Wednesday, we post the cases for the week. It's Wednesday to Wednesday. And we did it that way just because that's how we're reporting to DESE, just so it would correspond. This is just a review of the COVID-19 symptom list. The symptoms in bold, people, those are highly suspicious for COVID, definitely should not be coming to school. They need to get a PCR test and submit that test before returning. The symptoms below, the minor symptoms in combination, also need to get tested. Some other reasons we say to stay home, positive or pending COVID-19 test, if you've been exposed to anyone and you are unvaccinated, if you've been instructed to quarantine or isolate by the Board of Health, the school nurse, healthcare provider, definitely need to follow those instructions. And if you've traveled out of the country and are unvaccinated, you need to quarantine. So just going over close contacts and the definition of what that is, it really hasn't changed in quite a while. If you've been within 6 feet of a positive individual while you're indoors for 15 minutes in a 24-hour period, you're considered a close contact. Exposure time does begin 48 hours prior to symptom onset, and that's important for contact tracing. For positive cases in school, because we're going to go back 48 hours and see who that person has been in contact with. On the DESE protocols, individuals who are exempt from testing and quarantining are asymptomatic, fully vaccinated close contacts. Any classroom close contacts, as long as they're spaced 3 feet and are masked. Bus close contacts, as long as everyone is masked and the windows are open. And anyone who's had COVID within the last 90 days. They are exempt from quarantine and testing. As far as the response protocols, anyone we identify as positive needs to isolate for 10 days after symptom onset or the date of their positive test if they are asymptomatic. They can return to school after they've done the 10 days and they are feeling better. Asymptomatic close contacts need to quarantine for 7 days from the date of exposure, and they need to test on day 5 or later. There's a lot of confusion about this. Sometimes you'll call someone and say you're a close contact, and they want to run out and get tested right away. They need to wait until day 5. They can return on day 8 if there's no symptoms and their test is negative. And if they were exposed in school, they may participate in the test and stay program if they have a consent. Okay, Jackie's gonna go over that.
So this fall, DESE offered 3 types of testing programs. There's symptomatic testing, test and stay, and routine COVID safety checks, which if you remember from last year, we called it pool testing. That name was confusing, they changed it. And LPS will be participating in all 3 programs. So symptomatic testing we've been doing since we came back to school last year. It is the Binax Now rapid test. It's an antigen test. It takes 15 minutes to get the results. It's performed either by the school nurse or the nursing assistant. It's for students and staff who develop symptoms during the day. So if you wake up, you're not feeling well, you stay home. If you woke up, you were feeling good, you came to school, you have headache, sore throat, you can go to the nurse and we can do this test. If they're mild symptoms, so just a sore throat or just a headache, and your test is negative, you can return to class. If it's a severe symptom or a combination of symptoms, you have to go home and have follow-up testing, even if you're negative. DESE has partnered with CIC Health to help roll out these programs. We are currently working with CIC. They are 100% supporting our test and stay program and our routine COVID safety checks. They've also helped us set up staff testing stations, which I'll talk more about later. This says we have 2 program coordinators. We actually just got an email a little while ago that we now have a 3rd. The 2 that we currently have been operating. They're like rolling out, basically building the program for us. The 3rd one is going to be remote, and she's going to onboard new staff. They currently have 13 people who are working for them, and they've requested 25 to 30 so we can really get the program up and running to its full potential. We have been phasing in the programs because there is a lot of prep work that goes into this. The biggest hurdle would be getting the consents and having them inputted into the system. This morning we had 4,384 consents, and when I checked it earlier, we had more. So they're still coming in, and that's about 27% of our school population. So test and stay, there is some confusion around this. Test and stay is for only if you were exposed in school or in a school program. So like we have compensatory programs running right now. If you're exposed there, you can participate. If you're exposed outside of here at home, you cannot, okay? And it's only for people who don't meet that exemption criteria that Deb talked about. So if you are fully vaccinated, you do not qualify for test and stay. So test and stay is for unvaccinated individuals who they're going to test for 7 days from exposure. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to test for 7 days. It's 7 days from the exposure. So we might not find out until day 5, and they'll test day 6 and 7. They can remain in school and do not have to quarantine as long as they continue to be asymptomatic, so have no symptoms. They take a rapid test each morning or each day and receive a negative result. They quarantine on non-school days, and they continue to monitor themselves for symptoms. So we just rolled this out on the 4th, and this has been our participation so far, and it adds up to almost 400 days. So we've prevented 400 missed school days in less than 2 weeks. Pretty big. Routine COVID safety checks. We're actually going to start phasing this in next week with the elementary schools. With this, we take an individual, our weekly nasal swab, and you take at least like 10 samples and put them in a tube. The tube gets sent out for a PCR test. If that pool comes back negative, everybody in that pool is assumed negative for that day. If it comes back positive, we have to do further testing to identify who the positive individual was in that group. Vaccinated individuals can certainly participate. It's not recommended, but they can. The only people who should not participate in this testing is if they've had COVID in the last 90 days. Once you have COVID, we expect you to test positive for the next 90 days. So it would basically just have a false positive in the group. The testing stations, this is a Lynn Public Schools program. We've set up 3 locations at English, Classical, and Shoemaker, and this is for staff who have isolated or minor symptoms. Any day that we have school, these are open and running. They're open from 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. Since rollout, we've had 41 staff members come in for tests, and we have caught 3 positives this way. So for October, between our school nurses and CIC, so that's the testing stations, test and stay, symptomatic testing, We've performed about 600 Binax Now tests, and we've had 6 positives. This is our weekly COVID cases that we report to DESE. So it's that Wednesday to Wednesday, 3 to 3 reporting system. And what I want to remind people is this is our whole school population. So it's our students and our staff, but it doesn't necessarily mean they were in the building while they were infectious or that there were any contacts. Okay. So this last week we just finished, the blue is students and the orange is staff. We had 29 cases total. And then this is our vaccination rates by age group, and I apologize, I realized after that the bottom of my chart got cut off. So the blue is individuals who have had 1 vaccine, the orange is individuals who have completed, and it's the 12 to 15 years and the 16 to 19. This is actually October 5th data. It comes out Thursdays at 5, so I didn't have enough time to get it on here, but I did look it up, and almost every group has gone up another 1%. So we're still increasing. And these are just resources for COVID information for Mass and for LPS. And those are some of our nurses. Thank you.
Questions from the committee? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Member Castellanos, and then Member Satterwhite.
So first of all, I want to thank both of you for your hard work on this presentation. It's definitely a well put together, comprehensive perspective. It's very delicate times that we're in. It's actually very impressive. The breakdown that you guys provided to us as always. I'm actually excited to hear that we had another program personnel at it. Now, I always ask about staffing. I've been asking about staffing for a while. Could you guys elaborate a little bit on what that looks like, how we could support that? And I do, but when you're not here, I do ask Dr. Tutwiler and his team.
We saw at the last meeting.
All right, yeah, so I do care. So I do, it's a very important role as we move forward in our transition in our public health transitions.
Yeah, so we currently have 5 openings.
Okay.
We interviewed a nurse this week, and I believe she's going to come on board, so we'll be down to 4 openings. We also have been able to secure nurse substitutes. We currently have 7 working, and we have 3 in process, so we'll be up to 10 probably by the beginning of November, which has been great. And we also have the additional nursing assistants who are out there in the schools helping out. So
that's phenomenal. And I want to just thank you because I think those are. And if anyone in the crowd, anyone knows that if you're looking for a nurse position, Lynn Public Schools is hiring. I have an additional follow-up too around just the communication piece. I know you guys are doing a good job utilizing social media and getting that out there. Have we? Could you? I didn't hear. I can imagine you are using our different language technologies to interpret the many languages that our district.
Yeah, everything is translated into
our major 5.
Yeah. And the message I sent out the other day with the flu clinics, we had done in all the languages as well. Right now on the website, we had to make an update to the protocol form, just to add that we had the dashboard, and I wanted to put that on there. So I'm waiting for a few of the translations, but that'll be posted very soon. So we have English and Spanish, but I'll have the rest posted.
And all of our nursing assistants that we've been hiring are bilingual,
Awesome.
which is extremely
That's
helpful.
great. That's tremendous. And just lastly, this might be for the district. Would it be possible, I know as we're looking at data, to develop some insight on the cross-analysis between districts in similar size and demographic to see how we're looking up? I think you could go on, Desi. I think you could, you could go on there and as we look through data, probably won't be the last time we see you.
We're doing pretty well comparatively.
Oh, I would like to, it'd be good to highlight that, to see how we're adding up. So.
Well, one of the links on that page will bring you to the DESE site with all the stats from all the districts.
Okay.
So you can really see comparison there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Member Satterwhite?
Thank you. And I just want to thank you again for the work that you do. Obviously, my wife, Andrea, the amount of work that is placed on the school nurses is pretty much up there. And I'm happy that we're starting to hire more. I always say that in this district, every employee works 3 or 4 times harder than in other districts. And it's just, unfortunately, the makeup of our district, our educators, our nurses, and so on. So I appreciate the work that you guys do. So one of the things that I had questioned was, I know that you emphasized that you are only doing testing if the student is exposed in school. Is that a DESE thing?
That is a DESE thing.
Okay. So is there any collaborations with PCPs between the school nurses and?
But having students tested, or?
Yeah, say it's, maybe they had symptoms outside of school. Obviously, we don't want to bring them.
So, yeah, I mean, we refer every Project Beacon, Lynn Community Health, also to follow up with their PCP. We find Project Beacon and Lynn Community, you can walk up, you don't need an appointment. Project Beacon, you can schedule them both online as well, so that team seems to be easiest for our parents.
So you're not having any problems there? Okay.
Nope.
We talk to the Lynn Health Department
every day.
Every day. Every day.
And I think, not to interrupt, I saw Member Satterwhite, I think those testing options outside have been extended, the Beacon side, I think, through the end of the year. So they continue to allow those and make those available.
Now, the data that you're providing us, are we digging any further into it by race or by, just to see if there's maybe a language barrier that could be an issue with
For our students who are positive?
Not just positive, those that are vaccinated, those that are not, obviously, you know, those are.
So we are trying to, through our software, we can run reports about who's been vaccinated or not. Right now, there's a glitch. We can't upload, it connects with the Massachusetts Immunization Survey site, and right now it's not working. They have a scheduled repair for tomorrow, so after that, we'll be able to run reports on vaccination more by school, and then we can narrow it down even further. Right now, we just can't do it.
Okay. So my concern is, you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there and barriers, and I know that they went up 1% for the vaccinations, which are great, but there's still 40% or 30% that aren't. So I want to make sure that it's not a breakdown of communication or misunderstanding or misinformation. So if we can just break it down a little further, even if it's by race or language spoken at home or whatever, just to make sure that we're getting to them as well, and to advise them of obviously the benefits of it, but also that might also increase those students that are participating in the 3 programs that we're offering. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
Can I just say one thing related to the concern the member Satterwhite is raising, because if you go back to, say, late July, between late July and now, there's been a pretty, each week it goes up in a way that's noticeable and significant, but I think that's probably going to slow down pretty soon, and the way to reach the individuals who are either fearful or have questions or just don't have the information is probably not going to happen through social media, or flyers, or the opportunities are many in number. I mean, my 12-year-old or my 11-year-old just turned 12, and there are appointments everywhere. It's so easy to schedule. So last week I had a meeting with some individuals who are partnering with districts around doing a little more. It's just a little more personal approach, to get to that last percentage of folks. And so the nurses don't know this yet, but they'll be invited to a meeting to talk more about that. And really it's around educating people to, within the community, whether it's students or families that are willing to talk to other families. The research says that's really how you're going to get to that last sort of reluctant percentage of folks.
And just to finish, obviously each school nurse has a workload, and it's not just this vaccine that they're worried about. There's a plethora of those, and obviously that data needs to be updated and maintained. Adding this to the plate, are we seeing, what are we seeing? What's the feedback you're getting from nurses? Do they feel as though that we're hiring enough now to meet that need? Is what's the feedback you're getting with this?
As far as hiring more nurses?
Not just hiring, it's adding more work to the nurses' plates.
Yeah.
So
The
that's,
contact tracing is taking a lot of time. That's the big piece, the contact tracing.
and what can we do to help with that? Because again, even the workload before COVID was substantial.
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
I can respond to that.
Tutwiler?
So part of the solution exists in the nursing assistants, right, who can perform that duty, allowing
Data entry, okay.
Yep, and then, we've also asked DESE for some help. We've got, soon to be 25 or 30 professionals through CIC who we're going to be supporting with the test and stay and the routine COVID checks. Can they also participate in the contact tracing piece? Now, the early answer is no, but we're going to keep pushing to try to find other supports, because it does, as they just described, it's an all-day thing. The contact tracing piece, which doesn't allow them to get to other important pieces of the job.
Because we do have a unique situation in Lynn where we have a large student body, compared to, let's say, a Quincy, where I think we have 8,000 more students than they do. So that adds up. So please be honest and open as to what the needs are for our nurses not to be burnt out.
Yeah, we've been talking to Pat quite a bit about
Every day.
Every day, trying to, come up with solutions for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Other questions?
Okay.
Member Castellanos?
So this is more just kind of out of the box idea as we're going through this transition. I think about Lynn Tech, how we have areas. This might not be exactly for right now, but as we learned about the early college promise and all the programs that we're looking at for obviously dual enrollment, I think about our medical assistant programs. And are we developing programming to work through, because we haven't had a pandemic and it's just not
right.
But how to work through one is fascinating. If you were personnel, people who have been in nurses and folks who have been working in these industries, that experience in itself a decade from now is going to be looked back and that's valuable experience. I'm not sure what we're doing to I guess capitalize on that for our Lynn Tech graduates, but I'm not sure if they're part of our operations. But I think about co-ops and just internships. I don't know, just kind of just throwing it out there. Just as we're I think it's just. I think it's awesome what you guys do. Honestly, Danielle's my significant other is a nurse, and the stories of what what they did, what you have all done in that field is just remarkable. It's heroic. And honestly, it's inspiring, and I think it'd be great to see future nurses. If I want to be, if I'm going in that field, we have North Shore's right there. Salem State's right there.
We do have students in the school. We have 4 students from Salem State, and we have 4 from UMass Boston who are shadowing school nurses one day a week.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, I'm glad I asked.
We've been doing that for years.
So we've been doing that for a while now.
So that's going on.
So have we been in partnerships have we been advertising our jobs over there at Salem State? I don't know if that's.
I think everybody's going
after
people.
Yeah. See, it always goes back to staffing.
No, indeed. And I would just say quickly, the health tech is one of the larger, more popular shops at Lynn Tech. It gets a little fuzzy in terms of having them support the current effort around, privacy and things of that nature. But I'm thrilled that we're preparing the next, sort of great core of people to help in this field.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good presentation. Thank you.
Sure.
Had no questions.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a request for executive session, but I would entertain a motion to allow the superintendent to do his communications ahead of the new business agenda.
Motion to move the superintendent's report from communications and information to before the new business.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Dr. Tutwiler?
So in your packets, there's the all too important October 1 enrollment. I am happy at a future meeting, if the committee would like, to do a presentation on the enrollment trend. What I would say at a really high level is our current enrollment, 16,250 students, is among, I'd say, the top 4 enrollments that the district has had in the past 20 years. Still not quite as where we were last year or the year before. However, if you talk to anyone who works in the Welcome Center, they'll tell you they have appointments. We're still registering new students. So happy to do a presentation on that at one of our future meetings if you would like. And then I've also got a report that I'd like to share. I believe deeply that every aspect of the school day experience is important and impactful, from the way in which students are welcomed when they arrive, to the purposeful social interactions, to the substance of the academic lessons, to the ritual of closing out the school day. Each part of the day reflects our values and is approached with planning, careful thought, and individual attention. We know that these elements and more impact the students' learning and growth. Related to breakfast and lunchtime, breakfast and lunchtime are important parts of the school day. The opportunity to connect in low-stakes fashion with peers, take a mental break, and recharge and refresh with a healthy meal is critical to the success of the day. Given the recent concerns about the quality of meals served at the elementary level, and perhaps beyond, it's soon prudent and necessary to make clear where lunch sits and breakfast in terms of our thinking and beliefs about the day, as well as the processes that are engaged each day to ensure that this part of the day is successful. Reflective of our beliefs, the Lynn Public Schools sought membership under the community eligibility provision in 2017. Doing so allowed the district to provide universal free breakfast and lunch to all Lynn Public Schools students. Free meals do not and should not convey any reduced care or concern about the quality of the meals. In 2020, the district entered into a partnership with Revolution Foods. Key in this selection of this provider was its guarantee of fresh, never frozen food that meet the strict set of guidelines set by the USDA, which includes the provision of proteins, whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and a milk with every meal. What is more, in response to feedback in the 2017 and 18 school year, the purveyor has the capability of creating and providing culturally relevant meals. The meals are prepared in a kitchen approximately 10 miles from Lynn, packaged and delivered to schools to be served the next day. The meals also undergo a quality check to ensure freshness. Collecting and responding to feedback continues to be the centerpiece of our work. With all expressed concerns about meal quality, we've engaged a full investigation with Rev Foods and Chartwells, the district's meal service management provider. This approach allows us to change a process if need be or correct a misconception. The feedback can also lead to decisions around what we serve. We will encourage all families to continue to provide feedback directly to the school and the food service team. Partnership and transparency are key factors in the path forward. Accordingly, a formal invitation to Lynn Public Schools families to attend a food service exposition on November 3rd is forthcoming. At this event, families will have the opportunity to sample meals served in our schools. Additionally, representatives from Revolution Foods and Chartwells will be on site to answer questions and I think perhaps most importantly, hear feedback. In the opinion of many, the road to recovery from the pandemic will be long and winding. It will require a thoughtful strategy, consistency, and patience. It will also require a willingness by representatives from the school district and their partners and families to collaborate on important matters. I believe that is what is happening relative to the matter involving meals.
Thank you, Dr. Tutwiler. Member Sadoway?
The November 3rd expose, I guess, with the partners, that's going to be open up to all families?
We will post it and share it widely, and anyone who wants to come is welcome.
Do you know where that will be taking place?
Well, we're planning on having it right here, but if there's a large response, we might need to consider a different place. We've had it here before, that's why we...
And it's going to be both from Chartwell's and Revolution Foods?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Member Gately?
Will it include the high school and middle school, secondary foods?
Well, Chartwell's is high school and middle school.
That's all of them. Go ahead.
At this point, we would just, the concerns we're addressing the elementary meals at this point,
Yeah.
and that's what we were kind of focusing on as of right now.
Well, I was out at Lynn English High School last week and talking to classrooms of students in government classes. And I was told that they got some frozen foods, like in the line. So I didn't know if it was opened up to high school and secondary.
We can, but again, as we know, we have kitchens at all those schools. Those meals are cooked every day for our students. So that's something we would like to hear about if that's from the students, if they're getting something that's not cooked. Yeah.
I, in all fairness, I just got to talk to Dr. Tutwiler this morning about it, and I don't know if I have my notes, but there was something about the soaking wet bottom of the chicken palm or something. I'll find it, Kevin, and I'll
No,
get
that's
back to
fine. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, that would be definitely, those meals are cooked in-house and served. They're cooked that morning at the school,
Oh,
so
here
that
it
would be,
is.
most likely a people
leaky
issue. that
chicken
employee-
palm.
Yeah. I'll look into it. If you give me the information tomorrow, I'll gladly look into that for you.
Thank you.
I think that's important to underscore, though. Whenever there's a concern that is expressed or shared, we always look into it.
I know you do.
And we work with the company and then try to report back to, if the person is named, to, what the issue was. And if there's a problem, we'll acknowledge that there's a problem and we'll address it.
Okay, thank you.
Member Sadoway?
I was just going to request to go into executive session.
That's fine.
Request to go into executive session to discuss strategies with respect to collective bargaining relative to the Lynn Teachers Union, Local 1037, Administrators Association and Nurses, Local 3147A. The discussion of these matters, which involves strategies in an open meeting, may have detrimental effect on and compromise the bargaining positions of the public body.
Requires a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Sadoway?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes.
Are we going upstairs again?
Yeah, it's just a lot of furniture.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go upstairs, so, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want your pocketbook?
Motion to go back into regular session.
Second.
The second requires a roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Sadoway?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Member Sadoway?
Thank you. Motion to approve the actions that took place in the executive session that was done to discuss strategies with respects to collective bargaining relative to the Lynn Teachers Union, Local 1037, Administrator Association, Nurses, Local 3147-A. During this executive session, the members of the school committee voted to allow Dr. Tutwiler to sign 2 MOUs regarding COVID leave with the Lynn Teachers Union and the Administrators Association.
Second.
Second. Requires a roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Sadoway?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
To adjourn, there's a second. Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola? Tola?
Yes.
Member Ford?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Everyone have a good night.
Thanks.